Hello viewers and welcome to a special edition of Business News. Today we're hearing from four experts, Libby, Lizzie, Melanie and myself, Alice, about IKEA's Chinese market entry strategy. The corporate mission from IKEA globally was an ambitious one: establish market leadership in Asia. China, with its massive and upwardly mobile population, was integral to this strategy, and as such, the Chinese team were given two corporate goals. One, appeal to Chinese customers, and two, increase the Chinese customer base. Over to customer expert Melanie to hear more about how the team went about solving this strategic challenge.
Thanks, Alice. By the 1990s, IKEA had established itself as a world leader in the global furniture market. And it owed its leadership position to a core strategy of delivering high value at a low price and appealing to the mass market, regardless of their age, gender, class, or income. By this point, the Chinese furnishing market was also booming, and China had established itself as the world's largest furniture manufacturer and exporter. In 1998, IKEA became one of the first international furniture companies to launch in China, opening stores in the megacities of Shanghai and Beijing. However, the market was already very crowded, with more than 100,000 manufacturers already operating domestically. Over a decade after launching, IKEA found it wasn't anywhere near as successful in China as they had anticipated. By 2005, they were turning over close to $120 million, and yet the business was still not making a profit. So, what was going wrong in China? So, IKEA faced two key challenges. Firstly, they could not compete against their Chinese competitors on price. IKEA used a standardized internationalization strategy, which typically gave them an operational advantage and allowed them to keep their prices low enough to attract the mass market. However, in China, high import taxes, close to 20%, and low-cost manufacturers meant IKEA's products were simply too expensive for the majority of Chinese consumers. Let's remember that China had already established itself as the world's manufacturing hub and was synonymous with some of the lowest prices in the world. This was particularly problematic for IKEA, given that their entire marketing strategy was centered on being the lowest priced competitor in the furniture market. Now, secondly, was IKEA's perception by consumers. IKEA's higher prices resulted in the Chinese market perceiving IKEA as an expensive elite brand. Consider this for a moment. This is not only completely contradictory to their strategic marketing and branding efforts, but also to their overall mission. So IKEA decided if they were going to succeed in China, they had to adopt a new strategy. They would have to turn their weakness into a strength. So they decided to shift their focus away from the mass market to target young urban professionals who saw IKEA as an aspirational Western brand. Now let's cross over to Libby, who can share some further insights into the decision-making process.
Thanks, Melanie. Let me just discuss the tools and techniques that are being used in IKEA while decision-making process. So, to start with, we have the market research and feasibility studies. IKEA China has seen that they give more importance towards market research, and the result being they are able to analyze consumer behavior, preferences, and purchasing habits with this detailed research that they do, because of which they are able to tailor their products and also their stores accordingly as per the consumer's taste and preferences. Next is innovation design. As we know, IKEA truly believes in customer centricity. So, they offer a wide range of products and home solutions by adapting to the local customs. The interesting feature in this is they have also added the name IKEA to their brand, which means comfortable homes and homes furniture. They have also redesigned the layout of the store so as to suit to the needs of the Chinese local consumers. Next interesting mode is distribution and retail procedures. The main purpose of IKEA in here was to increase the customer base, and they did it via multi-channel retailing. They did the multi-channel retailing by expanding into, especially in tier 2 cities. Also, with the use of e-commerce tools, they try to reach the Chinese consumers even from smaller cities, and also try to understand their consumption patterns as well. Pricing strategy was also another important tool which was used by IKEA. So in the year 2000, the prices were lowered by almost around 60%, so which resulted in higher amount of sales. Also, they ensured mass production and cutting supply chain cost. With this, they manufactured domestically, resulting in avoidance of high import taxes and shipping costs. Sales came in from local sourcing and also from localization of production and distribution. They were able to reduce the logistics cost as well. Strategic partnerships was also another tool which they used at IKEA China. So they tried to enter the market, especially in Shanghai and Beijing, via joint ventures. At IKEA China, they also tried to redesign the organization structure and competencies to fit in with the strategic partners. And they also decentralized certain functions of human resource and also in store management as well. Another fascinating tool that I would like to share, which was used at IKEA in China, was the IKEA effect tool. So, what exactly do we mean by IKEA effect? I mean, I have a pretty interesting video to show in here.
Effect talks about. If you look at the supply chain of any furniture company, what they do is the furniture first gets manufactured, it is then assembled at the very same location and then shipped to the retailer. Further, the retailer stores it in a warehouse, and when a customer purchases the product, the retailer delivers the product to the customer's doorstep. Note that the furniture is fully assembled, as a result of which, it is delivered in large trucks. But you know what? That is not the case with IKEA. Well, the IKEA furniture is packed in such a way that it could literally fit inside your car. But how is that even possible? The reason behind this is that, unlike all other furniture, IKEA furniture does not come assembled. Yes, they come in pieces, and it is you who has to assemble the furniture at your home. Here's where the concept of DIY came into existence, that is, do it yourself. Just like mothers associated the value of their cake with the efforts they put into baking it, similarly, people started to develop a beautiful relationship and an extraordinary sense of value towards their IKEA furniture for the only reason that it was created by them.
That's a great insight, Libby, about what is IKEA effect. Thank you so much. Now I'm Lichi, a strategic analyst, and I wanted to give a strategic analysis on the decision of target marketing young urban professional through an external analysis of Pestel and Potter's five forces and an internal analysis through VRIO model. Now, we know what is Pestel analysis. It is political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal situations. And here, I'm mostly focusing on economic and social situation where there was a rapid GDP growth and there was low labor and production cost and there were more house owners. Also socially, they were having a one-child policy and adoption of Western culture and also the high middle class income. So targeting this professional who were having more purchasing power and they were having high rapid growth. These factors were mostly influenced them to take this decision. And if we see Potter's five forces, only power of suppliers were low, rest all other forces were high. Why power of suppliers is low? Because there were high competition. So IKEA can replace one supplier to another supplier. There was not a much issue. And the rest, everything was very high at that time. But I want to more focus on like power of customers. So who was their customer at that time? Was the population of young people was around 23 million who is having high purchasing power. So this was the number one thing. And they always have like their demand a high quality and low price, and they were imitating Western culture. So since they were having a high purchasing power and they were having in good number. So these are the main things they were focused on targeting young Arabian professionals. Now, now we will see an internal thing to see that whether the offering of this thing is having a sustainable competitive advantage. That means the decision of targeting um, young Arabian professional. So now we will see which all are their valuables they were offering. So it was their brand image, their relationship with suppliers, innovation driven ability to raise their capital. Their rare things were their international presence, their problem solving skills, risk taking characteristics, and adaptability. Especially adaptable means they were looking there who is their customer and their what their need. Now, what was their inimitable things? Nobody can imitate. That means their quality product offerings, their location or placement of stores, their marketing communications, competitive pricing, customer experiences, and their organizational where they were having a high financial strength, there were technological advancements, investment in research and development, and they were changing their models as per the requirements. There were many distribution channels, and their production capacity was very high. So these were the factors that was internal to the organization. So I think the decision they have taken as a great decision, thinking about the internal and external factors. Now, Alice will be talking about what is the outcome of this decision. So I'm handing over to Alice. Thank you so much.
So let's look at it through two lenses, financial and operational efficiency. From a financial performance, I think we can say, after hearing from all our experts, it was a resounding success. The strategy seems to have worked. In yellow, this graph shows market share and store footprint, and we see this increase from that slow and steady launch until they understood the market to rapidly scaling and hitting their storefront targets. IKEA is now the largest foreign furnishing retailer with a massive coverage across the Chinese mainland. Many other foreign retailers have tried and failed to penetrate the market. For example, Home Depot closed all its storefronts in China in 2012. More recently, IKEA has closed 2 stores, citing challenges from COVID, but also, more importantly, migration of sales to online channels. Next, if we look at OPEX, this is where this strategy really delivered. In purple, we can see that in 2010, IKEA recorded its first profits 12 years after launch, driven in large part by that change in strategy. China now produces 65% of IKEA's global inventory and was the least volatile market in terms of pricing, seemingly unaffected by global price changes since COVID, unlike all other global markets, which saw increases in consumer prices of between 20 and 70% and has led to a flattening of IKEA's global sales. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly in terms of financial metrics, revenue growth, which we see on this blue line and really exploded since the early 2000s and has recently been flattening after 13 years of rapid year-on-year growth, driven in large part by price cuts targeting that young emperor demographic. China was the fastest growing market for IKEA globally for almost 20 years. China management says that the flattening is natural and indicates high penetration and borderline saturation of the target market. However, as a percentage of global sales, Asia has only increased 5%, from 6% of total market to 11% since 2017, suggesting that a revised strategy to target a broader audience may be needed if we wanted to grow further. Looking beyond the financial performance into operational efficiency, by employing logical incrementalism to respond to the changing needs of young emperors, IKEA successfully appealed to its target customer base and built competitive advantage. From a balanced scorecard perspective, IKEA has delivered resounding success, internally developing dynamic capabilities through an innovative omni-channel portfolio of new and small retail formats and e-commerce, and threshold capabilities through its efficient localized supply chain, as mentioned earlier. The customer perspective delivers mixed results. China ranks lower than global averages on IKEA's customer satisfaction index, due in large part to missteps with marketing and product recalls. However, awareness in city centres and visitation is extremely high. And finally, ESG. Environmentally, IKEA's initial environmental performance was poor, abandoning eco-friendly products for price cuts. However, in response to changing customer expectations, IKEA has since re-employed its global I-Way eco-friendly policies. And socially, IKEA is increasingly responsible. China is a rapidly changing market, as these results demonstrate, but IKEA is one of the few global brands in a category that has managed to stick out and deliver solid results. And for that, its strategic choice to target young urban professionals must be celebrated. Whether it can sustain this competitive advantage is still in question, as seen by those growth results. Thank you.